continuing with our little tour of other Canadian teams in the NHL, because I have the gameplay stored on my hard drive, let's talk a little bit about the Leafs and their prospects. And I know there are a few really intriguing topics that we can talk about when it comes to the Leafs, especially when it comes to the playoffs. But I got a few other friends here, Grav, Hands Down Hockey, etc. They've already done great videos talking about the Leafs and their meltdown, so I'm gonna talk about the prospects because I like doing that. Last night, in the third game of the first round in the AHL Playoffs, the Toronto Marlies won against the Rochester Americans 3-1, taking the series sweep in 3 games. That 3-1 win last night was pretty significant because of one guy, Adam Brooks, who got himself a hat trick in the 3-1 win. Brooks is a player who is very intriguing because he's really taken strides this year in the AHL. It's not something that he's really used to at this pro level, but it is something that he has done before in other levels of hockey. Brooks was drafted by the Toronto Maple Leafs in 2016 in the 4th round. This guy was late, and a lot of Leafs fans were not really knowing what they were going to get when it came to this player, especially since he's 5'10", 181 pounds. Adam Brooks has had a little bit of a tough path getting into the NHL, and, I'm not saying that he is in the NHL, just saying on an NHL club, because his draft year, which was 2013-14, he only had 11 points in 60 games played for the Regina Pats, which led to him being undrafted. In his draft plus 1 year, he was a point per game in the WHL, and he was undrafted. But then in Brooks' draft plus 2 year, he got himself 120 points in 72 games, which led to him being drafted in the 4th round by Toronto. The way things have progressed now, Brooks has played another season in the WHL since then. He was really good. He played a rookie season with the Toronto Marlies where he was really meh. And now, playing for the Marlies, he got 40 points in 61 games. He's gotten himself a hat trick in Game 3 of the playoffs, and now the Marlies have gotten themselves into the 2nd round. So what is the potential for Adam Brooks, a 22-year-old center who's 5'10", and who honestly has made some pretty big strides over the past 12 months? I wanted to put a big emphasis on his junior stats early on in the video because his junior stats were really good, especially towards the last 2 years of his junior career. Obviously, 120 and 130 points in 138 games played. That's amazing. Now, as a 20-year-old, that's kind of expected, but the fact of the matter is he was really good. And if you read some of the scouting reports on Brooks from back in that time frame, you're gonna find around the same consensus that people have established about him. It's that he doesn't really have any elite skills. He's not really the flashiest when it comes to stick handling, he doesn't have an amazing shot, he doesn't have outstanding skating. It's just that he works really hard. And I know that's a cliche, a lot of people like to think about it like, oh yeah, he works hard, which means he's gonna make the NHL, right? But it doesn't work like that, right? I know it's a cliche, but the fact of the matter is here, everybody kind of had the same consensus about Brooks in the WHL, especially when he was getting all these points. It's that his game was really mature. And the Maple Leafs, during the 2016 NHL draft, actually noted of this as well. They said that Brooks was one of the more mature players that they had coming into their organization. So going forward, what exactly is the ceiling? What's the potential in the NHL for this young player? And I say young because he is 22. He's turning 23 in May. So in a few days, actually. May 6th is the birthday. So he's going to be 23, and he's going to have a really good set of sophomore numbers in the AHL. 2 points every 3 games is really, it's not bad. And for somebody who works really hard like Brooks has and who has taken big leaps like Brooks has, one may come to consider the fact that he might actually play in the NHL one day, albeit in a bottom 6, maybe top 9 max kind of role. But as a guy who's really mature, who does things well, who puts effort out there on the ice, and who overall could become a really big fan favorite just in his dedication and his professionalism within the game on and off the ice. And in my opinion, it's not really all that ludicrous to believe that he could become an NHL guy, especially as a fourth rounder who didn't really have the best draft stock in his draft year or his draft plus one. We already noted this, but his junior numbers were really normal before he started to develop really into the role that he was able to achieve. He started out slow in the WHL for years before becoming a scoring threat, and his first year in the AHL was not good in terms of the points, but he was learning, he was adjusting to the pro game. It was his second year, which is this year, where he really started to take strides. So I think it's understandable to believe that Brooks is a slow grower when it comes to developing within different hockey leagues and getting adjusted to the new systems and all that. So going over into next season, I'm expecting big things out of Brooks, and who knows, maybe in 2 years, maybe even as soon as next year, he gets a call up onto the Leafs in a press box or a fourth line role, a show me kind of role. And I think it would be really interesting to see where that goes, because I think he does have NHL potential. It's just that he's such a slow grower, and the fact that he hasn't really had the best path, but when he has been good, he's been good. Really, really good. So whatever happens to Brooks in the future, I hope he does have a future in the NHL, but I wouldn't be surprised if he actually did make it, which is kind of crazy considering he was a fourth round pick in his draft plus 2 year. But if there's anybody that's going to do it, it does look like it's going to be him for the Toronto Maple Leafs just down the line. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Social links on Gaming, and bye.